Okay, so getting underway here, first thing I want to do is basically just take you through a couple of the systems that have had some adjustments this week. So for those of you who are trading Crude SN03, we're going to jump straight into that because that system needs to be modified. I'm going to go through the process. Now you'll see I've uploaded the System Performance Tracker Part 1. Part 2 will be going up tomorrow, which we go through the case study of analysing the system number 3, and this is where we derive the results from system number 3 and what we're turning on and off. So system number 3 is a session that trades from 9 to 9:10, and you'll see I've got a number of charts loaded up here. The first one being the normal SN03 previous high performance system, which I'll bring up here. You can see here that it's had a bit of a drawdown here, a bit of a hook back up. Now this is a system that trades 9 to 9:10, and if we go into the settings just quickly, you'll see that when I go into the settings here on the strategy performance report, it will show us that it's trading true on the settings. So for those of you who are trading SN03, I would definitely or highly recommend that you're trading with the offset, and we'll just bring this up a little bit. The offset here is TP trail stop is true and new trail stop is true as well. So you definitely want to have that as your offset. And we'll close that off. Now what I've done is I've actually gone in and you'll see here that I have our window open, and I'm going to bring up now that's the true. You can see having the true false option on the trail doesn't really give as good results, but then we'll go to the actual 89 tick. So for those of you who, like me last year, were trading the 89 tick chart instead of the 55 tick, because there were two schools of thought there, that some of us were trading the higher tick chart because we thought that it was performing better, obviously, and you can see here that it's actually starting to perform better at the moment with this increased volatility and starting to get some nice movement there. So for those of you who are potentially looking to look at the system number 3, you've got two options. You can either have a look at the settings I post up tonight and decide, right, well, that's what I really want to go with, or you can potentially look at increasing your tick size up to 89 ticks, because this is definitely improving the overall results. Now, I haven't changed the settings at all on this particular chart. I've just increased the tick size. So you'll see here that also that last week that was a massive week on the 89 tick. So while the 55 tick was up around about $100, the 89 tick was up about $13.25. You can see it went through a little bit of a drawdown before that, but just a really good week. So we can go then, and I'm going to post the 89 tick up as an option as well, because I think that it's time that potentially could be traded. Now, what I've done is I've actually gone to the this is the pilot system. So remember, the pilot system is, and obviously the System Performance Tracker video part 1 talks about a definition for the pilot system. So the pilot system is our system that we initially test up, that is profitable, and we haven't really done any calibration to it or any filtering, or we're just trading it based on some profitable settings that we've discovered that match the market we're trading. So nothing really unique about that. So what we then do with our pilot system, we've got to track the pilot system every week to make sure that it's performing, to monitor how each of the days of the week are performing. And what I found was that by reviewing this week's results, the days of the week actually should be modified on Crude Oil for system number 3. So my new settings for system number 3 are Mondays on, Tuesdays on, Wednesdays off, Thursdays on, Friday on. So on the long side, I've pretty much got every day of the week on, except for Wednesday. Now, we all know that Wednesday typically never gets turned on because it doesn't really make any money. And the stats for the last month is Wednesday's down negative $80 on a Wednesday on the long side, and on the short side it's down $325. That's its net profit, so it's probably down further than that, but that's its overall net profit, so negative 325 and negative 80. For the last 6 months, or 4 months, 6 months, it's down it's made a total of negative $620 on the short side on a Wednesday and negative $695 on the long side on a Wednesday. So Wednesday is not a good day for trading crude oil on system number 3. So we would definitely put a line through that day specifically. Now, what it does tell us is though the shorts are back on in a big way. So we were previously not trading the shorts on a Monday. We should add the shorts definitely, because the shorts have made almost $1,000 in the last, or at least $500 in the last month. So short side on Monday, $500. So that turns on. That equity's up to $1,085 for Mondays. Tuesdays is definitely back on. Thursdays is on, and Fridays is off. So we were previously trading Fridays. It's now negative 275 based on current drawdown. So the current settings for SN03, and I'll be posting this up in the site, but if you want to take some notes here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. On the long side, you're only trading Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. On the short side, we're looking more at Monday, Tuesday, and then Thursday on the short side. And with those new revised settings, our equity graph looks a little bit like this now. This is for the last month. This should come up here in a second. There it is there. You can see that we're starting to pick up some more of the some better trades, obviously, which is what we wanted. So that's system number 3. Did everybody get those new high performance settings? I'll be posting those up in the on the website tonight, so you've got those, and hopefully you've modified your system accordingly. They're the GMT settings. They're the settings I would be trading if I was specifically looking at that one system, or not that I specifically am, but looking at that one system. They're my settings based off what I'll be trading. So the new high performance system. Now what I've done is I've actually gone in and looked at a couple of markets. So I'm going to cover off a couple of markets today, and we're going to do this every week, and I'll probably do this not just on crude, but we're going to do it on the Russell and a few of the other markets too. Now we'll just jump over to another market that's performing really well. Actually, we'll stick with this optimizing or setting up new systems or setting up new high performance systems. So let's go through to the Russell. Now the Russell's high performance system up to week ending 19/12/2012 was longs Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, shorts Tuesday. That's the high performance system for the Russell. Not the pilot system, but the high performance system. Now on closer analysis this week, so week ending 19/10/2012, I basically went through and did the customary process of going through and looking at the days of the week and the longs and the shorts on the pilot system, because we need to collect all that information and we need to view every day of the week. So what's happened there is that there's been some interesting changes to the Russell system. Now it's currently in a drawdown based on our high performance system, so you're quite within your mandate to turn that strategy off, that system off. But what I would suggest you do is I would suggest you load up the new settings and track those for at least a week, just to see how they start to play out with the new market or with the new settings. So what I've got here is I've got Mondays off, Tuesday off, Wednesday off, and only trading Thursday, Friday on the long side for the new system. So basically the new high performance system based on going through and analysing the days of the week and longs and shorts on our system performance tracker. They were the most profitable days, Thursday, Friday currently. On the short side, Tuesday and Friday seem to be the best options for us for the short side. So what I've done here is I've then punched that into our new high performance chart, which we'll bring up here. That's not it. Here it is here. So you can see there that we've still got a bit of a drawdown. So what I would potentially do is I would load the new high performance chart up with the new settings, with those new days of the week, and then I would probably wait until that system started to continue to climb, or started to bounce. And remember that any time we turn a system off, so if we turn a system off based on our settings in our system performance tracker, the one thing we have to do, or we want to do, is basically have a value that we get back into the system, whether it's a moving average or whether it's a dollar value or an R multiple. So remember, with the money management exercise, with lesson 7 in the money management exercise, when we hit a negative 3R, 6R or 9R, depending on what you chose, you would turn the system off. When your system then got to a point where it was back above that value, so it went, say, above 6R, negative 6R, and went to negative 5, then you would turn the system back on. Well, the same applies for us with the systems. So if your circuit breaker on this high performance system is, say, $1,000, then once it bounces potentially back up, and you might have a dollar amount that you get back in on, say, half of the max drawdown, 500, you turn the system back on. So what I'll get you to do, for those who are tracking system number 64, is I'll get you to load up the new high performance settings and then just track to see how that runs going forward. So that's what we want to do. We want to just keep an eye on that moving forward. Alright guys, so the next thing we were going to look at was, the next system I was going to take you through was basically a couple that are really running beautifully. This is Brett's revised coffee. So again, back to the 89 tick, running beautifully. Had a good week last week, 571, but just picking up some nice trades there, and you can see making new equity highs. So that's doing well. System number 72 had a good week, although I haven't loaded that up. And a couple of the other markets I wanted to just touch base with, for those of you who have got an interest or a keen interest in trading the S&P, then Mark's new ES 1597 cycle trader, tracking nicely. This is one of the ones he sent through to me for you to have a look at, which is basically running at about 69.26 as an average trade net profit. And we have over here, we have the ES 987 running at 57.50, and you can see the performance there, just dipping down a little bit at the moment. Had a winner last time, but that also seems to be tracking nicely. So two different settings on the cycle trader for the S&P, which is great. So we'll continue on here. Now there's one here that I've got, David Murphy sent me through, and I wanted to take you through this strategy because it is on the cycle trader but on the Eurobond. And the reason why I was impressed with this was that not because it's the cycle trader and Eurobond, but basically because it. Now I've only got a couple of months of data loaded up on this system, but this is it here. This system has produced $31,000. This is only going back till this trades a fair bit. It's only going back to the 1st of June. It's made $31,000 in the last since the 1st of January 2010, and it's got a maximum drawdown of $2,000. Now I've got the settings here for those of you. Now this is on my server, so I can only go back on this server back to the 1st of June. But what I do have is I have a cache file of data that I can integrate with this data to get us back to, say, November last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Mike to set up a protocol for uploading data to Tradestation so we can all have access to data from November last year on the futures contracts that we can load into our performance charts, and we can backtest obviously a lot further. And what we're going to do is we're going to store data like that so we can just keep adding to our data file, and that gives us a much bigger range to test on, because at the moment in Tradestation you can only back test for 6 months on the tick charts, Renko and charts like that. Time based you can go back a bit further, but you'll find that every 6 months that data will drop off. So it's important that you have a process for caching this information. Now, what I'm going to do, as I said, is I'm going to get Mike to set up a protocol for doing that. So you'll be able to take that data back further. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this out or put this up on the site. I just need to find out how many traders here are using 9.0 and how many traders are using 9.1, because what I'm going to do is some of these workspaces are being sent to me in 9.1. So what I'll do is I'll convert them to 9, and then that way everybody's got access to them. Because if we do them in 9.0, then the guys who've got 9.1 can just upload them as well. So pretty much everyone's, there's a bit of a mix, 9.1, 9.0, okay, excellent. Okay, good. So for those of you who spot them tonight, so there's a couple of new ones going up. There's a few there that I haven't uploaded yet that I will. So I put a few more up on the weekend. But I'm just going through and just making sure the ones that go up now are dated and they've been calibrated as well. So they've got the most recent best settings. So the ones that go up tonight, there will be a review of SN03 that I'll stick up. I'll mark up the high performance chart for system, the pilot system chart, and you'll see obviously the daily chart. So this is, as I mentioned before, I'm going to load this system up. Now, this is just the pilot system. So 31k since the 1st of January. This is only from June, and this has produced 9,000. It's got a lot of trades. There's been no work done on this at all, except for the basic settings. $27 average trade net profit. So we can do a lot of work on improving that overall performance. We can get that right up. So if we do the analysis on days of the week and potentially look at the time as well, and maybe have a little bit of a play with this, I'm sure as a group we can come up with a potentially a really good set of data for this, or a good system here in relation to the euro. Why do you think there's an advantage to us spending a fair bit of time on the euro futures above, say, coffee, wheat, corn, sugar, these other markets? Yeah, it's a big liquid market, a lot of liquidity, just great opportunity, and typically the euro is going to be a market where we're going to get a lot of activity. So it's a market that if we spend a little bit of time working on this system, and obviously Dave's done a lot of the hard work, Dave Murphy, so well done, Dave. But he's got probably about 4 or 5 of these. So we've got some little gems coming through here from Dave, so that's fantastic. And what we'll do as a group is we'll basically spend a bit of time going through and kind of developing this up. I'll get that data integrated, and so we can actually see this back for that almost 12-month period, and start to really get some good runs on the board with this particular system. Now it was generally designed to trade in a lower volatility market, but it seems to kick along pretty much most of the time. So we'll do a little bit of work on having a look at how it performed earlier in the year on the euro, but yeah, a lot of stuff to be done there. Just not too much to get it up to speed in relation to improving it, but yeah, it'll be a interesting exercise. So as I said before, the two main systems for you to focus on this week are system number 3 and system number 64 with new settings. So I definitely want you to I'll just go back and we'll just do a quick recap of those two, because they're two that we need to look at, modify. So we'll do that now. So for those tracking system number 64, the new settings will be on for Thursday, Friday on the long side, and new settings on the short side are Tuesday on and Friday on. Now I would definitely encourage you to go through your system performance tracker and just have a look at those markets. Now, what is a really good idea when you're doing that process, you're going through your system performance tracker, and I'll be talking to you about this in the video, is I generally like to load up two charts. I like to load up my 6-month chart and the last 30 days, because I want to see what's been happening in the last 30 days on the system performance tracker. So I like to see how much money each day of the week is made, and how does that compare to the last, say, 6 months of trading? Because the most current month is obviously the most active month, the month that we've got to pay attention to, and this is where you're going to start to see the evolution of of potentially a change in one of the days of the week. If you load up 1 month of trading and you can see that one of the days is running exceptionally well, it might be one that previously was turned off, and you go back to your 6-month data. When that data becomes blended into 6-month data, it probably won't show too much. But if you look at the last month, you can see that there can definitely be some very quick trends that you'll pick up as far as performance in your equity graph. So always a good idea to load up the 1 month and the 6-month chart just to have a look at that. The other thing I wanted to touch on too is on crude oil. You should have flicked over to the new crude chart. So there is a new crude December chart. You need to switch over to that. And I also have a website that has the calendar for each of the futures rollovers, which will be handy. So I'm going to send that out as well. So for those of you who, and I'll just grab that now, for those of you who are looking for just a notification, or just at least to map out in your diary once a month what the rollover is, that's definitely very handy. And I'll just grab that for everybody now before we go on any further. And let me just load that up. Now, if you are not too worried about having the actual calendar, but you're happy to use Tradestation as your advisor for the rollover, the place to find that information on Tradestation is to go into View, and if you go into your events log, you'll see that that's not it. Sorry, my apologies. It's not events log. It's View. And it's your message center. Sorry about that. There's your message center. So if you go to alerts, you will see that messages, you'll see that it drops in little messages every day about what's happening. Introduction to Easy Language. So there's an Introduction to Easy Language free course there on the 24th of October. So for those of you who are keen to add Easy Language to your skill repertoire, then basically they've got a session on Easy Language within the Tradestation Education Centre. Also, you'll find that within this message area there will be information about the current rollover too. It usually only pops up once, so you've got to be very vigilant in checking it every day. Another good resource for you to basically add to your list of resources, and I'll just drop this in the room here, is to add the link for... Okay, I've got a question from Damon there. Sorry, Damon, just run me through what you mean there. Sorry. So Renko adjusting the date signals will change. What specifically were you referring to? Are you talking about back testing the euro? 1 month before. Okay, so that's that link. Oh, okay. So 1 month before, yeah. You're absolutely spot on. We're working a way around getting a little bit more robust Renko charts. So I'm just chatting with Mike at the moment to get charts. If you have a look at multi-charts have got a chart called Better Renko. So Better Renko is a chart that prints the wicks on the Renko bars, and it also allows you to lock the bricks down to a certain value, so you're getting the same type of trade, same setup and same trades every time you load your charter. So there is an ability within Tradestation to do that using a time-based indicator off the 1 minute chart, and you can do it when we release MT4 on the 1st of November. We've got a plug-in within MT4 that actually runs off minute charts. So what that effectively means is that the Renko bricks set up, the Renko bricks print, and they print off the minute bar. So whatever is happening on that minute bar, because that's a true reflection of price, the high, the low, that'll be reflected in the brick size. So on the MT4, you'll get a very, very accurate result in relation to your back testing. However, on Tradestation, we're going to develop that up as well, where we have a Renko brick that runs off minutes that shows the high and low for the wick, or the brick I should say, so it gives the wick on it, and that allows you to, number one, lock your Renko brick to a certain point, and also it allows you to back test with more accuracy, because obviously when we're trading in Renko, if the bricks don't print that value, or that multiple that you've set, then you're not going to get a true reflection of what the outcome of the result was in relation to back testing, as you know. So there are two modifications we'll make to the Renko bricks to improve the overall results. Yeah, so we need to lock it in. The entry needs to be based on the current bar, and also we need to have the wicks showing on the Renko bricks. So I've added that to Mike's list. Richard's already got that set up in MT4. You'll basically get a pretty good look at exactly how that's going to look when you see the MT4 charts that I show on Monday. So when I might even show them to you on Wednesday once I get this data loaded up. But basically, you'll see exactly how they look, and you'll be able to get a good feel for how that all is going to play out in relation to, you know, your testing, and it'll obviously give you a lot more accuracy with your stuff. Initially trend, and then we're going to add the cycle as well, Kim. Yeah, and then the new system will come out in MT4 as well. Alright guys, the only other things, what I'll probably do is I'll do more of an update on the currencies on Wednesday. I'm going to load up a top 10 trend trading forex trend on the site as well. So we've got the cycle on there, we've got some reversal trades in there, we've got the trend trader futures, we've got the forex. So we'll just load a few more charts and also results up for the reversal and the trend trader in relation to the currencies, because I know some of you are pretty keen to trade multiple currency pairs, and some of the markets that are really doing well at the moment are the Euro Yen, Euro US Dollar, Pound US Dollar, the Aussie Dollar's tracking okay as well. So there's a few pairs that are really setting up nicely, and obviously we've got a few guys who have done some work on a number of the pairs that we'll put up in the room as well. So if you get the strategy, basically it needs a little bit of work done to it. So obviously analysing days of the week, times of the day, or days of the week at least, and the longs and shorts, just to see where you can make improvements. And I haven't got to that point yet, but that's one thing we're going to do a little bit more work on Wednesday. So at this stage, if you do download it and you fire up the performance report and look at it, so you know it looks pretty good, but it's got a lot of trades in it, which it has. So we need to cut down the number of trades, and also need to improve this average trade net profit to $50. So at the moment it's at 27, so we shouldn't have too much of a problem getting that up higher. You can see the win rate's pretty high at 62, so that's pretty unusual for the cycle trader. We don't usually have a win rate that high, but that's good. And as I mentioned before, when you take this data back to January, the net profit runs up to about 31,000. So obviously, just in this short period, it's made 8, but that last 6 months has been fantastic. So it's produced a lot of profit for a very small drawdown of 2,000. So it's looking pretty good. We'll just have a look at the current drawdown. So the current drawdown, max drawdown there is 750. The long side's 1275 and the short side 950. So without too much work, we should be able to get that system firing nicely. And the other good thing about the euro is that it gives us lots of opportunity. So we want a system that's trading with high frequency, good turnover in the account. That's exactly what we're after. So it might be a great one too. Let's just have a quick look at when it's trading as far as its setting. So it's trading that euro session 1 to 650, and it's trading based on the original entry. So remember, the original entry is, and I'll just take you through exactly what that means. When we set this cycle trader up, we basically decided, right, well, if I and here's a perfect example. This is a cluster of cyclical activity. We've lost the trend, so we're basically buying support, selling resistance. So the way we can do that, there's two ways we can set the cycle trader up. We can set it up so we take the trades as soon as that support prints, we take the trade. And you can see here that on the settings, if I go into these settings, that's exactly how it's set up. It's set up that the original entry true, and then this trend number 1, trend number 2, that's false. So trend number 1 and trend number 2, basically what that means is that when I initially developed this system up, when price breaks this, the entry was either, if you got a resistance print, we would buy either on a break of resistance and buy and sell the sell, or we'd sell on a sell on a touch of resistance, or sell just before the resistance band. Now you can select those values based on what your offset's going to be. So obviously if it's a negative value, you're setting it above. If it's a positive value, it's below. Now that worked okay, but what we found worked even better was to automatically have a setting where once you've lost the trend, if you've lost the trend, then the first print of resistance after you've lost the trend is where your trade starts taking entries. And it starts taking entries based on that first resistance dot. So whatever that candle closes at, that's your first entry sell. Then when you get the buy set up, as soon as that dot prints, you get your buy set up. So all it's doing is it's automatically buying and selling support resistance. That's basically how it's getting into the trades. It's not hitting the support resistance. And what we found was that works beautifully on the Renko charts, because the Renko charts, typically, if we have a look at the Renko, we see obviously price action on these on the price bars looks different, but if we go to the Renko, you'll see that the Renko charts, and that was just the bridge, sorry about that, and I'll get a cluster where it is actually trading like that. Okay, here's a bit of an example, I guess. Okay, so what the Renko bricks do a very good job of, not a great example, but a little bit, is they won't, the Renko brick will print just below resistance, and then it'll print just above. So a lot of the time you're getting these trade setups on the Renko where price doesn't go anywhere near resistance or anywhere near support. It does in this occasion, but a lot of the time it doesn't. And those trades were really good cyclical type trades, and we're missing those because we get support set up there. That's a buy setup. There's your sell setup on the cycle. There's your buy setup. Obviously that one doesn't work, but you get what I mean. You get that, once you've lost the trend, once you've had that initial move, you're looking in to get some cyclical sideways action, and then we potentially go into another trending move. Now, when we initially coded this up, the settings were that you only took the trade if you either touched support, or you broke through support, or you hit support, or you got within a certain amount of points of support. But when we modified the system to take it on the first brick, once the trend had, we'd lost the trend, that produced much better results, because you're actually kind of fitting in with the type of, or the exotic chart that the Renko is. That's how it was producing better results, particularly on the Euro Yen. It would get this type of cyclical activity where it wouldn't touch resistance or support, but it would definitely do that one brick offset. So that was definitely a good way of adding that strategy to the strategies that we had. Can't you have a tolerance level on support resistance just like you have on key levels? Are you referring to just explain what you mean to me there, Sean? Just if you can elaborate on that a little bit more. Like on key levels within 10 points plus or minus on for those missed trades. You can, and that's why we've added. That's why the system has. That's why the strategy has the option to take the trade. You see here, if I turn this setting to, if I turn this initial setting, we'll go back into a cycle trader. Sorry, if I go back into the cycle trader setting, this one here, it's got the ability to capture that tolerance of the trade, because what we're saying is we turn that original entry to false, and we're saying, right, well, as soon as the trend, first entry trend starts, so there's no trend, we take the trade automatically. Soon as that first resistance dot sets up, if that's marked as true, we automatically get into the trade, market order into the trade, and we can do it for the second level of support resistance printing. So what that means is that basically we don't really need this. We don't need price to touch or go anywhere near that support or resistance. It'll automatically acknowledge that you're out of the trend and that you should be getting into cycle mode, and it'll start taking those trades. Whereas before, we had it calibrated so you actually had to either touch or get within a certain value of that support or resistance line. So now the system will automatically recognise you're out of the trend and you should be in a cycle activity, and then it'll automatically get into the trade for you. Yep. All right, guys. Any other questions on the cycle trader? And again, if you think about the combining the cycle with the trend, then ideally what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to take profit at the opposing level, because at some point obviously the market's going to break out. So while you're there, you're looking to capture profit, because if you're trading this trend and cycle together, then your expectation is that the trend's going to pick up the larger moves. So you're just looking to lock in trades as you go along. Alright guys, that might wrap it up for tonight. Thank you for your time. Some adjusted settings for some of our systems, the Russell and SN03, the crude strategy. Also, I'm going to be uploading some, for those of you who are trading multi-charts, there's a few in the room, we're going to be uploading some workspaces for multi-charts as well, and just converting some of those over to multi-charts. Also, I'll be talking to Mike about setting up potentially setting up an easy language template for those. Can I just get a show of hands or an idea of how many people would generally be interested in learning a little bit of easy language, a little bit of coding? Anybody interested in doing a little bit of coding, easy language? Okay, fantastic. All right, well, Jim Taylor came up with a fantastic idea, which I really like, and I'm going to just talk to Mike about it. I was going to ask Mike to possibly run a session on easy language and coding, and what I'm going to ask him to do is set up a template for, now as you know, many of you are using the systems, and Andrew has put forward a strategy where we're going to look at potentially adding some of the stuff we've got. But what would be fantastic if we had a template that we use, for creating our systems. If we had that available to our members, then, if you've got ideas or you want to play around with some systems or ideas, then you can at least start the process, start putting together your ideas as part of code, send it through to Mike, he can polish it off for you. But if you've got a template there with all the criteria and the parameters in there, it makes it a lot easier for the whole process of, doing some initial testing on the system you want to develop up, and then that way when it gets to Mike, it's already started the evolution of the system. So anybody, we've got a few people keen on that, which is great. So I think that was almost everybody in the room. So I will take that to Mike and see what his availability is, and we might run an easy language intro session and look at potentially putting together a template we can use for system development. So guys, that's going to wrap it up from me. Any questions before I go? All good? Okay, thank you. And I will catch you on Wednesday. We've got a pretty big session to go through Wednesday. If there are any other changes to any of the other systems, I'll let you know via email. But the two critical ones, remembering too, the crude oil switches to the December contract, so CLZ12. So you need to make sure you turn that over to the December contract. I've also dropped in the link. I'll also send that out as an email. So you've got that. I'll post it up to the member site at least, so you can track the rollover going forward. And apart from that, have a super rest of the night, and I look forward to catching you on Wednesday. Cheers.